That was Luca's side eye. I've got her and Boone. We're ready for chapter 13. I hope you guys are too. Please have your notebooks out and ready, and remember to prepare for a high quality book club conversation. It's not going to be enough to just listen or read through the chapter once straight through. You have to go back multiple times and dig for those small tiny clues and ask yourselves, what does that make me think? So please bring those high quality jots to our book club conversation the next time we have one. I'll share my screen. All right, so chapter 13, Monday, December 8th through Sunday, December 21st, 1777. This is from an essay written by African-American Lemuel Haynes, veteran of the Battle of Lexington. Liberty is equally as precious to a Black man as it is to a white one, and bondage equally as intolerable to the one as it is to the other. An African or a Negro may justly challenge and has an undeniable right to his liberty. Consequently, the practice of slave keeping, which so much abounds in this land, is a list. Okay. Eben stopped speaking to me after that. I welcomed the silence. John Burns saw the coldness between us and befriended Eben, pouring out hollow compliments and listening with false attention to stories of Aunt Patience and two-headed calves. It mattered not to me. I worked, slept, ate, cleaned my gun, worked, slept, ate, cleaned my gun. The other fellows fell into a pattern of card playing and dice after supper. Greenlaw invited me to join, but my peevish mood was not suitable for games. I sat close to the light of the fire and tried to carve a bird from a piece of pine. Good thing Isabel wasn't around to see it. She would have mocked me endlessly on account of my carving looked more like a beaked pig than a bird. It was harder than ever to soldier my thoughts about her. My mind would run off without leave, and I'd find myself wondering if she had a warm place for the winter. Mayhaps, she had made it to Charleston after all and wouldn't have to worry about the snow. I jabbed the point of my knife into the meat of my thumb to remind myself that idle speculation about the girl who hated me was foolish. We were soon ordered to move south again, marching and then marching some more, 10 or 15 miles a day. Sargent showed us on a map that our path was as straight as a musket barrel. That map was useless. It did not show the mountains we had to climb, nor the treacherous mud that stopped the wagons, nor the empty miles of fields and trees we passed, ever nervous that British or Loyalists waited to ambush us at the next curve of the road. We passed 80 of tidy villages flanked with farms and filled with generous folk who let us sleep in their barns and fed us as best they could. Do you think any of those villages were marked on that map? Sargent said. No, they weren't. It seemed to me that map making was a profession for addlepates. We paused at a small camp in Jersey so the captains could confer with the other captains about the state of the war and gossip about General Washington. Despite the near-freezing air, I stripped off my shirt and stockings and washed them with lye soap and hot water in the hopes of drowning all of the vermin that had begun to live in them. My clothes were still damp when we were ordered to march again, this time west into Pennsylvania. For all the talk of battles and gunfire, soldiering was mostly about blistered feet and itchy clothes. We were on our way to join the main body of the army outside Philadelphia. The British had chased the Congress out of that city whilst we were busy in Saratoga and had settled in there for the winter. Our army was camped a short distance away, where it would stay until spring, for gentlemen did not like the fight in cold winter. We thought this was a foolhardy notion. We wanted to beat the British, take back Philadelphia, and end the war. Brown, the fast-running lad, had developed a wicked cough from sleeping in damp fields. He said such rude things about our lazy, lily-levered generals that Greenlaw cuffed him on the head. The morn of our departure, I saw a crow fall from the sky. Eben saw it too and shot me a worried glance, for it was an omen of disaster. I opened my haversack and pulled out my small tin box, which held the last of the salt for my rations. I pinched it in my fingers and threw it over my left shoulder to ward off the bad luck. Should have gone over the right shoulder, Eben said. I did not answer him. We stopped at Newtown in Pennsylvania and took on a wagon filled with heavy barrels of salted beef bought for the army. The roads were little more than rivers of mud, and the wagons got stuck over and over again, making us late by several days. We arrived at the Gulf, the spot of the winter encampment, as the rain turned into falling bits of ice. There was no army to be seen, just a vast field of mud around a small stone house. Captain Stanwell ordered the 8th Company to take their muskets and stand guard. Then he went into the house with his sergeants. Our company stood upwind of the wagons, for the barrels had begun to stink. We blew in our hands, rubbed our arms, and stomped our feet to keep warm. Bits of ice bounced from the brims of our hats. They brung us to the wrong place, said Sylvanus. We're going to march all winter, and then the British will shoot us dead. Brown coughed and muttered in agreement. No, Greenlaw said firmly. Look at the boot prints in the mud, the remains of fire pits. He pointed behind us. You can even see where the tent pegs were driven in the ground. They were here. They ain't here now, Burns snarled. Here comes the sergeant, said one of the Janaks. Captain Stanwell and his officers walked out of the house as the falling ice turned to thick flakes of snow. The captain mounted his horse and started down the road that led west as companies scrambled to follow. Sergeant Woodruff hurried toward us, leapt into the wagon, and picked up the reins. What did you learn, Uncle? Eben asked. Where are we going? The army moved to a new camp. If we make haste, we might reach it by nightfall. He turned up his collar. Captain says it's in a more secure location. Let's hope he's right. Where is it, sir? I asked. Valley Forge. And that's part two. Thank you for listening, and please pay attention to the jots and the quality of them so we can have higher quality book club conversations.